So Karina, first of all, congratulations for shipping Oura Ring 3. Must be a really exciting milestone for you and the team.
Yeah, it's been a big week. We just launched our third generation Oura ring called the Gen 3 or Generation 3 ring, and it's an incredible feat. We've managed to pack way more features and capabilities into a ring that's still only 4 grams and very slick and beautiful looking. So I'm pretty proud.
It's amazing. Yeah. Building dialogue, I know, is top of mind for all marketers. I imagine there's a specific challenge for Aura where you have to build the dialogue with customers around very sensitive health topics. How is Aura keeping that dialogue authentic, informative, and first and foremost private?
Yeah, and maybe before I even answer that question, I could just tell folks what Oura Ring is and does, just for
Please, yeah.
anyone who might not know yet. So Oura Ring, which I'm wearing one right now, is a smart ring that works very similarly to, say, a Fitbit or an Apple Watch. It's a health tracker, and it does all these wonderful things, including tracks your sleep and helps you identify and understand how much sleep you're getting and the quality of the sleep that you're getting, like your deep sleep and your REM sleep. It tracks your heart rate variability during your sleep and gives you essentially a score that helps you understand how rested you are and how ready to tackle the day you might be, depending on your sleep quality. We also just announced now we offer daytime heart rate tracking. We do period prediction for women, so we track your menstrual cycle. We have 7 temperature sensors packed into the little ring, and we use LED lights to essentially be able to read your biometric data and measure your temperature. And as a result of being able to measure your temperature, we're able to help women track their periods and predict their periods. So it's a really powerful tool. It does all these things, and there's new features coming soon, including reading your blood oxygen and lots of content and guidance to help you leverage your personalized data to make better everyday decisions about your health. So that's what Oura Ring does. Now, to answer your question, I think you were asking about kind of how do we connect with consumers, or how do we engage or talk to consumers about this very complex little product? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a good question, because it is a very sort of innovative product, very high tech product, and a very data rich product. And not all of us are doctors or able to read, data very easily. But the beauty about Aura is the guidance. So in addition to giving you your data and giving you sort of your scores, it breaks down what everything means. It helps guide you, helps you understand kind of how to read your information so that you can actually use that information to make better decisions. For example, it might tell you, oh, it looks like maybe you had a late meal or had some coffee or had a late workout. Maybe, that's, for example, not great for good night's sleep. So Aura is really not just a data tracker, but a great guide to your health. And we bring that to life in our marketing in a lot of ways. One is we obviously show the product and show the UI to consumers so they could see how it works, how the content works, how the product works. We also have an amazing ambassador network. So we have lots of incredible athletes and other folks who use the product and talk about it on social media, folks like Lindsey Vonn, for example. And also we produce a lot of content. We have a blog that breaks down how our product works. And obviously we're pretty active on social media channels like TikTok and Snapchat and Twitter and Instagram, sort of answering questions from our members and potential new members.
That's amazing stuff. I'm curious, there's a lot of data flowing to an Oura Ring user or wearer. What are some of the most common use cases? How do they really sort of leverage all that data to make a positive effect on their life?
Yeah, well, we started with sleep. Sleep was sort of the foundation. It was very foundational to Aura in its early days. It's just now we're starting to expand well beyond that. But it is easily one of the most accurate sleep trackers in the world. And so I mentioned, for example, like I wake up in the morning, I look at my app, I look at kind of my sleep throughout the night. I see how many minutes of REM I got, how many minutes of deep sleep I got, or hours, hopefully, of deep sleep I got. And I look at also how that has changed over time. I look at my heart rate variability. For example, I look at what was the lowest point that my resting heart rate was, and
Mhm.
when during the night did it get its lowest? And that could tell me the quality of my sleep. And the quality of your sleep is foundational to good health. If you
Yep.
sleep well, you are better prepared to tackle illness. Good sleep is actually prevents illness. It helps you manage your weight. It helps you manage stress. Um, it helps you be more prepared. There's actually been some research that was done by some neuroscientists in Great Britain that showed that stock traders who sleep well and who understand their heart rate and can be sort of attuned to their bodies are actually more successful, have better outcomes, better financial outcomes. So sleep is so foundational, not just to our health, but to our success. As whether it's stockbrokers or parents or whatever, executives.
I was gonna say, I wish someone would deliver this message to my 3-year-old about the benefits of sleep, particularly for his parents.
Yeah. But anyway, we started with sleep, and like I said, now we're really we're doing all sorts of fun things with your with helping you understand your data. For example, temperature. We have 7 temperature sensors packed into the ring. And as you know, your body's temperature is actually a signal of whether or not you're ill, you're sick, right? Like we have fevers. Why do we have fevers? We have fevers because it's our body fighting an infection. What Oura is able to do is actually track the slightest differences in your body temperature over time. And by tracking that, you're able to tell if maybe you're about to get sick even before you have symptoms. Because even before we have a fever, our body temperature goes up. So those are some of the very sort of practical applications of your body's data coming through.
Amazing you pack it all into one tiny package.
Yes. Yes.
A question is, there's a number of wearable devices to track your, call it your health heuristics, Apple Watch probably being one of the most common. How does Oura Ring differ from the competition, and how do you then articulate those differences to consumers via your marketing?
Yeah, a few ways. One is obviously the form factor. We're not a watch, we're a ring. That decision is very purposeful on the part of Oura in that one, we believe, well, we don't believe, it's just scientific fact that your finger is actually a lot closer to your arteries than the inside of your wrist. So we're reading your biometric data just a little bit closer to the source. And that helps certainly with accuracy. I don't know if you've ever noticed, if you've gone to the hospital or the doctor's office, they often measure through your finger, like oximeters, go on your finger. Yeah, this one. And so that's one reason why we chose the ring. The other thing about an Oura ring is it doesn't have a screen. It doesn't send you emails. It doesn't send you text messages. It doesn't do anything else other than sit passively and comfortably in the background and measure your biometric data and provide that to you via our app. So it's not distracting. It's really not there to do anything else other than be in the background and be this sort of guide or aid to you when you want it and need it. It also is, I find, a little bit more comfortable, certainly to sleep in and do other activities in than a watch, typing, et cetera. So the form factor, I think, is incredible. It is a very functional, beautiful piece of jewelry. It looks great with a nice outfit. You can wear it out. You can wear it to work. It's not really just a sort of sports watch. Yeah.
I think there's been a long-term trend to wellness as a topic, but certainly the pandemic has greatly amplified that trend. It certainly accelerated it in terms of speed, as well as the breadth of people and companies that are really having it top of stack in terms of priority. I'm curious, in terms of Aura's partners, how have you guys been able to sort of leverage partners to be able to sort of expand your reach, to be able to take advantage of this trend?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the pandemic, and I'm guessing it's one of the reasons this is a track at this conference. The pandemic sort of put health and wellness at the forefront of our sort of collective consciousness and made us all sort of kind of really face how existential everything is, right? But with regard to partners, so one thing that happened as a result of the pandemic is a lot of companies and sports teams we're looking at health trackers and devices such as Oura Ring as a way to help track the health of their populations. So one way that came to bear with Oura is we partnered with the NBA, with the WNBA, NASCAR, the Sands Casino Group. All of those organizations started to use Oura Rings as a way, like the NBA used it in the bubble as a way to help track the health and wellness of the players in the bubble. And that's obviously super useful when you have a bunch of people in the middle of a pandemic sort of in such proximity. Being able to get the kind of data that Oura brings to you early and often and fast is pretty important.
That's amazing. And you guys are working with other businesses? People probably think of Aurora as a B2C company, but clearly you're a B2B company as well.
Yeah. So we have a B2B or an enterprise product called Health Risk Management, HRM, and that's a service or product that we use in a number of partnerships. Like I said, like with the NBA or the casino, the Sands Casino Group, et cetera. And so we're adding new partners every month, every quarter, as people sort of start to understand and realize the power of this tool, and its power not just for individual consumers, but for organizations who really care about the collective or communal health benefits.
Yeah. Good. So switching gears a little bit, getting a little bit more sort of like deeper into marketing. You guys have just launched a new version of your product, really sort of riding the wave of health and wellness. Kind of let's start with the people. As we talked about last week, I get this question quite a bit. Are you guys marketing to millennials or younger differently than you're marketing to other segments or audiences, and how so?
Yeah, I mean, I do. It's not just millennials, but now Gen Z. You know, Gen Z is, I think, 40% of the population, or sorry, 40% of spending. I should say, 40% of consumer spending. I think it was by 2020. That's how big Gen Z and powerful Gen Z is. So yeah, as far as millennials and younger, we're definitely engaging on various platforms that are relevant to younger people. I mean, social media. I mean, I just look at TikTok. Like, my kid could care less about Netflix. He's just on TikTok, And so we're looking at not just those platforms specifically, but what kind of native content or experiences do we need to develop for those platforms so that they feel relevant to those types of consumers. And also the, younger folks might care about different things. I think we for the most part all care about, sleep, but the pandemic, actually, there's been a lot of also research about how young people have experienced a tremendous amount of stress because of the pandemic. And so we might talk about stress with younger folks differently than we talk about stress to, people who are, boomers, for example, right? Maybe boomers are thinking about longevity more than they're thinking about, stress, for example. So we also highlight different features of the product to different audiences based on what we know people care about.
Excellent. That's amazing. You guys have the great advantage of being digitally native, right? And it gives you great flexibility in how you market. You mentioned a lot about influencers, the great skier, Lindsey Vonn being one of them, obviously NBA players wearing your product. I can't help but ask, is influencers and social media the cornerstone of your marketing now with regards to your media strategy, or is it still some more traditional forms of media?
Yeah, I mean, I do think we lean heavily into social and digital platforms, but we most of our campaigns are omni-channel. We've run OTT and linear cable campaigns. We actually are running a commercial now, so we are truly omni-channel in our approach to marketing. With really an always-on approach to digital and social, and a more campaign-focused approach above the line.
Excellent. And how are you thinking about the success of those influencers? Is it online chatter and likes, or are you guys sort of getting a little bit deeper into attributing a level of sales success or top line success to individual influencers?
Yeah, I think it depends on the goals of the individual campaigns. Like there's obviously an incredible value of using influencers to kind of reach new audiences and to build product education with those audiences. And, and so you might measure that in terms of awareness or purchase intent. But for the most part, eventually we track everything down to a CAC, the customer acquisition cost.
Right.
So we're pretty kind of focused on, sort of what that cost of acquisition is. Are our marketing initiatives efficient? But I wouldn't say we track every influencer down to their CAC, because each influencer brings a different type of audience or a different sort of value, I think, to the conversation. And so I think we're a little bit more nuanced in our approach there.
Interesting. You mentioned a little bit of OTT, and then I can't help but asking your overall mix. Are you guys considering more sort of traditional linear TV, or are you also kind of expanding out to things like podcasts and other forms of media?
Yeah, we've done some audio in the past. We're looking at more audio. I think podcasting is a great medium, and I came from television. I worked in cable TV, and and obviously, I worked at Peloton before Oura, and we were very successful on television there. So, I'd love to see us continue to do more on TV. I do think this product, because it's such a sort of innovative, high-tech tool with so many features and capabilities, you kind of do need story-forward formats, like a good 30-second spot to tell your story, to unpack the benefits of your product. And so I do like television for that, for sort of that very kind of story-forward, educational type of format. I think TV is great for not just upper funnel awareness, but sort of education. And so I'd like to see us kind of continue to explore both OTT and television as we go forward. Yeah.
Very cool. Now we're moving into Q4. This holiday season is already proving to be, how shall I say, materially different than the last holiday season. We can leave our houses and go see our friends and our loved ones. We can have holiday parties. We can have Thanksgiving with our family. And now we have supply chain issues. So people are doing all their holiday shopping now versus waiting for the more official cultural kickoff of Black Friday. I'm curious, in kind of gathering data over the course of the year, how have you guys sort of used not just that analytics, but also sort of understanding what's going on in our world around us to kind of change some of your tactics and planning on the fly entering the holiday season?
It's a really good question. Yeah, I mean, every business has been grappling, every physical goods business, obviously in software it's a little different, but is grappling with the sort of global supply chain issues, and it's not just supply chain, it's logistics, right? It's not just manufacturing and parts, but it's actually also getting product on to shore. Obviously it's easier to fly a product than to ship a product on a boat, but it's more expensive. So anyway, we are thinking about kind of, do you dial your holiday campaigns up earlier, remind consumers about shipping cutoffs to the extent that you want consumers to know when they need to shop in order to guarantee that they'll get it by Christmas, for example. So a lot of that thinking is going into our communications plans for this holiday, because we want to be transparent. We want to arm customers with all the data and information that they need to be able to make the best shopping decisions for themselves and not be disappointed, especially if you're gifting something and you want it under the tree by a certain point. Yeah. And we're doing a lot of math on figuring out exactly how much demand, what's in a warehouse, how to get it there quickly. And we actually have also a two-step experience at Oura, in the sense that first you get a sizing kit to measure your finger to find out what size ring you need, and then you get your ring. So we also have to think through the user experience of, like, if I send you a gift and the first thing you get is the ring sizing kit, and then you get the ring, how do you make that like a really fun,
giftable moment?
Moment. Exactly. So there's a lot going into thinking through our holiday.
Right. Now, you mentioned kind of the experience. I think it's really interesting. You get a ring sizing kit. I guess it's kind of exciting, kind of build up to getting your Oura ring. Do you guys do anything else in the unboxing to really kind of carry on that brand experience, and to get the people excited about wearing, not just wearing the ring, but also really adopting the apps?
Yeah, well, first of all, there are actually tons of like YouTube videos and other video or on Instagram. There's tons of like unboxing videos of Aura because it is a piece of jewelry. So let's see if I have it. What? Sorry, let me show you.
All right.
Our packaging is really beautiful. So unboxing is very, very much part of like the excitement and joy of getting an Oura ring, either as a gift or for yourself. And we produce content around that. And we actually produce video also on like how to size and pick your size and what's the optimal finger to wear on. And, think through a lot of the process. Because you also, by the time you get your ring, you want to make sure that customer knows, like, everything they need to know to get started, right?
Right. That is really, really cool. In terms of actual sort of web experience, I mean, I know there's a lot of things that are happening. Are you sort of working with digital to be able to give people an idea of what that experience is going to be like once they actually have the ring and how it's going to affect their lives, so they can really kind of do good stuff and develop insights about their own physical plant, and how to kind of make changes differently?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so much of the job to be done on e-com is about really unpacking all of these features, because I can say to you, hey, Heath, this ring can read your blood oxygen level. And you'd be like, why do I care about that? But if I say to you, hey, Heath, this ring can help you with your sleep apnea. And by reading your blood oxygen levels, you can actually help, resolve some of your apnea issues. You're like, okay, now you're leaning in. Maybe you care a little more. If I say to you, this ring measures your body temperature, you're kind of like, why do I care? But if I say it can help you potentially determine whether you might be getting sick even before you have symptoms, now you care. And so it's very much about translating like all this high tech into the why should you care to consumers? Because we're not, you know what I mean? Like a lot of times marketers, we're so proud of our products, but we end up marketing to ourselves because we just like, we talk to ourselves like, to consumers, like we're talking to like in a meeting, right? But breaking it down into why should you care? How will this help you is a big part of our job throughout the purchase funnel, but especially on e-com.
For sure. And in that experience, a lot of digitally native retailers and or product companies have eventually moved and expanded to having an in-person shopping experience out of their own stores, or having some sort of larger form of concession or partnership with a channel partner. You guys plan on doing something like that, where I can go to a physical place, get sized up for a ring, and go home with one in the same day?
Yeah, we don't have anything to announce today on channel. We are 100% D2C. I think it's an exciting area to explore. I definitely think there's a lot of benefits to touching, feeling, trying on, like people, when they see my ring, they're like, oh, is that heavy? I'm like, no, it's only 4 grams. It's super light because it's titanium coated in gold. So but you don't know that by looking at it. So I do love the idea of us eventually exploring IRL type experiences, including retail, so that consumers can put their hands on the product and sort of reduce any barrier to try.
Very cool. I also want to just say quick note to our audience: if you have any questions, there should be a Q&A box right in your Zoom. So please feel free to type in questions. We only have a few moments left. So Karina, I have to ask the obvious and incredibly silly question. Do you have any stories of people using their Oura ring as a wedding band or an engagement ring?
Yes, we do. We do have members who either are renewing their vows or getting newly married and want to use the Oura ring. It's like you get good health and good love all in one. I actually think there's a campaign in there somewhere. Maybe we'll run something like that for Valentine's Day.
Good. Well, we have a question here from Henry. What does EMEA expansion and even UK expansion look like for Oura ring?
Yeah, so we currently are on sale globally, I believe in 70 countries. or so. So you could buy an Oura ring in those markets, in many markets. However, actively being in market. By the way, we're a Finnish company. Our Oura was started in Finland. So kind of Europe has been kind of in many ways home base for a long time. That said, I think we have a long way to go to truly be in market, certainly in EMEA and other places. I forget what the other market was that was mentioned. It was the UK in the question. So I do think like there's a difference between like having your e-commerce website available for people to purchase from other countries and shipping to those countries versus truly operating and being in market and being endemic and marketing to those consumers in a way that feels endemic. Right. And that I think is on the horizon certainly next year.
Very cool. Another question is also quite pertinent, so a little off topic, but I think it's relevant for everybody. Hiring these days, really important. Hiring a diverse team is top of stack and more difficult. How have you guys been finding the hiring environment these days, and what have you been doing right to be able to hire a diverse team of women and minorities?
Oh, I think Oura has been doing a really tremendous job first of all, I guess because of the pandemic or in spite of I don't know what the right words are there, but we are a very globally distributed workforce. And so we have people all over the country and all over the world. And I think that gives us a leg up in many ways to, that we're not wedded to a sole, headquarters in one office. We really are a very globally distributed workforce. And as a matter of fact, even earlier this week when we were launching the Generation 3 ring, I mean, we were meeting across like so many different time zones. It was bananas, so, but it's true. And I think part that I think innately forces us to be more diverse than a lot of companies because we are so global in nature. But we also are, I think our values as an organization, we really value not just diversity, cultural and ethnic diversity, but thought diversity. I think Aura's values are very much rooted in team spirit and diversity. So far, I mean, I've only been at the company a month, but so far I've been just so impressed with what I see. Yeah,
that's amazing. And the first month has been a new product launch. That's tough.
Yeah. It's fun.
This is not a question, but you did get a compliment, so I'm just going to pass it along. The upgrade program to B3 from B2 was just outstanding and the best customer experience I have received since some experience at Apple, FYI. So,
well, thank you to whoever said that. Thank you so much. I think it should be the mandate of any company to be members first, to become customer first. And I've been so pleased since I've joined Oura to see how committed the team is to just doing right by not just our team, our employees, but our customers. And so I'm glad you felt that love come through.
Nice. A question: you guys have the great advantage of having, a lot of first party and even zero party data. But I'm curious to know is cookie deprecation going to have a material impact on your addressable marketing and media, or is it something that you guys aren't that worried about, because you have so many sort of customers and registered users?
No, I mean, in terms of like prospecting and like new customers, like marketing to new customers, obviously cookie deprecation, the IDFA changes with Apple, all of those changes are going to have an impact not just on Oura, but on any marketing organization. And many marketers are seeing a premium assigned now to things like retargeting. It certainly makes attribution a little harder, things like that. There's definitely some work to be done for us to continue to innovate and think through other ways to keep efficiency in our marketing practice. And by the way, and I will say what it really does, and I think it's good for Oura, is it puts a special premium on having a high quality brand, because branding then starts to matter a lot more. But with regard to our first party data, meaning our member data, that's, like under lock and key, that's your personal data. We don't ever use that and in any way. I mean, other than to give you the service.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Oh, good. So tell me, Karina, what's next? What's next for Oura Ring, whether it be product or marketing or campaigns? That's the good stuff.
Well, so we just obviously launched a new product. So the work that we have to do now, I think, is really to educate consumers on the benefits of the product, how it works, how it's different than what we had before for people who are aware of the Generation 2 but want to know why we have a Generation 3 and how it's different. We also introduced subscription for the first time in the company's history. We previously did not have a subscription attached to our hardware, but we do now. And so there's some work to be done on kind of, I think, expectations of customers on subscription services is fundamentally a little different than a one-time transaction over, for a piece of hardware. So there's, I think, a lot of work to be done across the board in consumer education, which I think is really fun. If you have product market fit, you do something that I think fundamentally really helps people and brings them joy, then the work is exciting. So I'm looking forward to it, but that's a big part of what we're going to do. And obviously we need to tackle holiday and New Year, New You, because New Year is really an important time, health, wellness, fitness. And then, we'll see. We'll gotta wait. You gotta wait for the press release.
Yeah, of course. You guys plan on experimenting with any new and interesting media instruments or marketing instruments like digital out of home, working with more like smart TVs or any kind of sort of addressable ads via call it a television set or a set-top box?
So I think you're going to see, I think, a lot more content coming from Oura that is designed to help you use your product, and again, on the education front. And so I do see us experimenting with different ways of delivering that content, whether that's, through the OTT model or through, or just mobile or social. So yes, and both combination of distribution platforms and formats is something I'm really excited to play with the team for sure. Yeah.
Very cool. That's amazing stuff.
I still want to crack the nut on longer form storytelling. Like we keep talking about like the attention deficit economy and people just like want things in sound bites in 6 seconds and stuff like that. But then people will binge watch like 13 hours of, what's the show on Netflix that everybody
Ted Lasso would be our
Ted Lasso, yeah. I'm like, well, I don't know. You just binge watch like 6 episodes of Ted Lasso. So it's not, so I actually, one thing I'd love to figure out how to do, I guess this, if I figure it out, I'll let you know. But I do want to find more ways to effectively bring longer form storytelling to advertising. And I'm not sure what that is because everything seems to just be like really pithy, soundbitey these days, but I'm sure we can crack that nut.
I'm sure you could. Would you ever consider product placement or even work in the gaming community? I can see James Bond in Oura Ring. It would be very cool. 100%.
Somebody today told me actually that there's a show called You on Netflix where apparently the Oura Ring is prominently featured. I'm going to watch that now. Just today I found that out, so I'm going to watch that show, although I think it's like for like young, for like hip, for our kids. But I'm excited to check that out. But I think the best way to get product placement in, and like I said, I worked in film and television in the past, often is to have a product that's super relevant and a brand people love and people want to put in their shows, they want to put in their scenes, it's culturally relevant, it's in the zeitgeist. And a lot of that, once you get there, you don't have to pay for the privilege of sticking your product in those stories. And I'd love to be that kind of brand versus the one that pays for that, pays to enter any show. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Karina. Let's see if there's any more questions. I don't see any. I think we've locked it all.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the time.
It's
Thank you
been
for
a pleasure.
listening. And I hope everybody has a happy, healthy, and safe holiday.